I recently read the 1985 novel Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card, and then I watched the 2013 film adaptation directed by Gavin Hood. How faithful is the film, and which one do I think is better? Stay tuned to find out. But first, there will be spoilers, so here's your warning. Ender's Game takes place in a future where humanity is at war with an alien species called buggers, or formics, as they're referred to in the film. In the book, it's been 80 years since the last invasion by the buggers, in which humanity was nearly wiped out. They were outmanned and outgunned, but they were saved by a brilliant military commander named Mazer Rackham. But Rackham is gone, and humanity is now desperate to find its next great military leader, and for that they turn to children. The military takes the smartest kids in the world, monitors and trains them from a very young age. And Ender is a Messiah-type character. He is the chosen one. He's the one that the top military commanders believe is the one who will lead them to victory once and for all against the buggers. So Ender's Game follows Ender from his acceptance into battle school through all of his training up until the point where he finally is elevated, promoted to commander of the fleet. I quite liked this book, but I will admit that it did take me a little bit to get into it. I would say it wasn't until about halfway through or so that I was really hooked, but I did kind of fly through the last half. And I absolutely love the twist at the end of the story where Ender believes he's just been participating in this training simulator, simulating a real battle, where it's then revealed that the military commanders tricked him, and his final exam, or what he believed was a final exam, was in reality a real battle where he was actually commanding a fleet of starships, and he has to wrestle with the fact that he made commands that wiped out an entire species because he destroyed the buggers' home world, which is just a really clever plot. A big budget live action film came out in 2013, directed by Gavin Hood of X-Men Origins Wolverine fame. The movie it's not bad. It's pretty faithful to the book. A talented young actor named Butterfield plays Ender, and he was good. He was fine. I don't really have any major complaints about his portrayal of Ender, but he didn't blow me away. He was good. I'll leave it at that. Harrison Ford plays Colonel Graff, who is the main military leader who's in charge of overseeing Ender's progress, and I thought he was really good. Major Anderson is gender swapped in the film because that's what Hollywood does. That character is played by Viola Davis. Mazer Rackham is played by Ben Kingsley, who was excellent, but they give him these Maori facial tattoos in the film. Don't know why, to give him a little more flair, I guess, but pretty sure he doesn't have those in the book. So Petra, one of the lone female cadets in battle school, is played by Haley Steinfeld, and she's got a much bigger role in the film than she does in the book. They give this somewhat of a romantic element, kind of hinted at least, between her and Ender, which wasn't really present in the book. And the special effects, the CGI, is pretty good when it's used in the film, but there's also some obvious green screen that I noticed. I'm sure a lot of the budget went to the actors, the big name actors who were in it. I think $8 million alone went to paying Harrison Ford for his role. One thing that did stand out to me though from the film is the movie's score. Really epic and very memorable. I would say the main difference between the film and the book is that the film completely ignores a subplot from the book involving Ender's brother and sister. So in the book, Ender has an older brother named Peter who is kind of evil and has this whole grand scheme of kind of ruling the world, or at least swaying the entire world's opinions with... Anyway, he schemes with his sister Valentine back on Earth. They create these internet personas anonymously that give their opinions on the nets, as it's called in the book, and to sway public opinion about events going on with the war and on events back on Earth. Anyway, there's a big chapter devoted to this, and then it's kind of forgotten about until kind of the very end, so I can totally see why they scrapped that in the film, because it doesn't really have any effect on Ender's storyline. Peter does make an appearance in the film. He's only in one scene and he just kind of bullies Ender in it. It's a little cheesy. And I actually did find that subplot involving Peter and Valentine pretty intriguing in the book, especially what they were doing with creating anonymous internet personas to sway public opinion. Very ahead of its time for having been written in 1985. Lots of parallels with what's going on in the world today. Another difference I noticed in the film adaptation, and one that's maybe a little less obvious, is maybe two things. So the film's pacing was like breakneck. At least it felt like that to me. It was so fast, you're just constantly being brought into the next sequence, and there's really no downtime or time to let the story breathe. For a story as epic as Ender's Game, this film coming in at under 2 hours long, I think hurts it. It also leads to a lack of, I didn't get really a sense of elapsed time in the film that you do get in the book. In the book, Ender is, I believe, 6 when the book starts, and by the end of the book he is 12 or so. Don't quote me on that, but several years pass in the book, and not in the movie. It only seems like a few weeks or maybe months pass in the movie. I mean, it makes sense because you're dealing with real people and real actors, so it's a little harder to show that range, especially when you're dealing with young children and how much they would grow in that many years. But it takes away from the grandness and the epicness and the seriousness of just how long Ender is in this school and how much he learns over time and how much training he gets. There's some other differences. The movie ends just slightly differently than the book. It's still basically the same, but there's a real bug that's still alive that confronts Ender, and it's done a little differently in the book. All in all, a really good book. I really enjoyed it. If you're a sci-fi fan, I recommend that you read it if you haven't read Ender's Game. A pretty faithful movie adaptation. It hits all the right beats and leaves some stuff out that makes sense, but overall kind of lacks the seriousness of the novel in my opinion. So therefore, I'm going to go with the book over the film. All right, I want to hear from you. Have you read Ender's Game and or seen the film? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, share with your friends, tell them about my channel. Stay tuned for more videos in the near future. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later.